There are moments in life when it feels like your prayers are lost in the wind. When you cry out, and it seems that heaven is silent. You wonder if God is listening, if He cares, if He even knows what you're going through. But deep down, the truth is this: God knows exactly what you want. And even more importantly, He knows what you need. Every tear you've shed, every prayer you've whispered, and every hope you've carried in your heart has been seen, heard, and recorded by Him. He has not forgotten you, not for 1 second. So often we get caught up in the frustration of waiting. We live in a world where everything moves fast. Instant messages, instant results, instant success. But God doesn't operate in instant. He operates in perfect timing. He's never early, never late, always right on time. And while we are waiting, God is working behind the scenes, aligning circumstances, shaping hearts, and preparing blessings far greater than what we imagined. What feels like delay is often divine preparation. What feels like rejection is sometimes redirection toward something better. You may not see it now, but one day you will look back and realize that God was protecting you from things that could have destroyed you. When God says, "Trust me," He isn't asking you to ignore reality. He's inviting you to see reality from His perspective. You see your struggle, but He sees your strength. You see your limits, but He sees your potential. You see the closed doors, but He sees the ones you're not ready to walk through yet. Sometimes God has to withhold certain blessings until your character can handle them. Because blessings without preparation can become burdens. So instead of asking, "Why isn't God answering me?" ask, "What is God teaching me?" Every season has a purpose, even the silent ones. Look at Joseph's story. He was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, and wrongly imprisoned. From the outside, it looked like God had abandoned him. But every step of Joseph's painful journey was a setup for his destiny. The pit was not punishment, it was preparation. The prison was not a dead end, it was training ground for leadership. When the time was right, God lifted Joseph from the prison to the palace in a single day. That's what God can do. When His time arrives, your breakthrough will come so fast that years of pain will fade into the background of His glory. You might be going through a similar season where nothing seems to be moving. You've prayed for healing, but the sickness remains. You've asked for a breakthrough, but the doors stay closed. You've hoped for restoration, but people still walk away. It's in those moments that your faith is truly tested. Faith is not proven when everything is easy. It's proven when everything is silent, and you still choose to believe. When you say, "God, I don't understand it, but I still trust you," heaven takes notice, because trusting God in the dark is what brings light into your future. God's word reminds us in Matthew 6:8, your Father knows what you need before you ask Him. That means before you ever felt the pain, He had already planned the healing. Before you faced the loss, He had already prepared the restoration. Before you prayed the prayer, He had already written the answer. God doesn't just know your desires, He designed them. He planted them deep within your heart to lead you toward your destiny. When you walk with God, you don't have to fear missing out on your purpose. You won't have to chase blessings. Blessings will chase you. The right opportunities will find you. The right people will connect with you. And the right moments will unfold for you. But it all begins with trust, not partial trust, not conditional trust, complete surrender. Trust that says, Lord, I don't know how, but I believe you will. Because the truth is, faith doesn't make life easy. It makes it possible. You may not see what God is doing right now, but one day you'll understand why He made you wait, why He closed certain doors, and why He allowed certain storms. Every step was leading you closer to something extraordinary. You'll look back and say, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be here. If that door hadn't closed, I wouldn't have found this one. If that delay hadn't come, I wouldn't have been ready for the blessing. So don't lose heart. Don't give up. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep trusting. The God who created the stars and calls them by name knows your name too. And He has not forgotten His promises concerning you. When the time is right, He will deliver. And when He does, it will be more than you asked, more than you expected, and more than you imagined. That there comes a point in everyone's life when it feels like the world is standing still. When every prayer seems unanswered and every dream feels distant, you start to wonder if God still remembers you. You see others succeeding, healing, progressing, while you're still waiting for your turn. But I want to remind you today, God has not forgotten you. He knows what you want. He knows your desires, your battles, and your heart. And even when you can't see Him working, He's moving the pieces of your life with divine precision. Many people mistake silence for absence. But God's silence is often the sound of construction. Just because you can't hear Him doesn't mean He's not working. In the hidden places of your life, God is setting the stage for something greater than you imagine. He's preparing you, molding you, and aligning everything for the right moment. What you call waiting, God calls building. You see, if God gave you everything you asked for right away, you might not be ready to receive it. Some blessings are delayed, not denied. They're waiting for the right season, the right maturity, the right strength in you to handle them. God's timing is never late. It's always exact. What feels like a delay is often a divine setup for a miracle. Think of David. He was anointed to be king as a young shepherd boy, but he didn't step into the throne immediately. There were years of waiting, battles, and running from enemies. God used that time to build his character, strengthen his faith, and prepare him for leadership. If David had rushed the process, he might have failed the purpose. The same is true for you. God is preparing you for what he has prepared for you. Sometimes we get impatient and try to take matters into our own hands. We try to make things happen our way. But every time we step ahead of God's timing, we end up with frustration. When we wait for his timing, we end up with fulfillment. You don't have to manipulate doors to open. When the time is right, God will open them with ease. You won't have to force relationships, opportunities, or outcomes. They will align naturally because God himself will make the way. Trusting God doesn't mean you'll understand everything. It means you'll believe he's working even when you don't see progress. Faith is not about seeing the path clearly. It's about walking confidently in the dark, knowing God holds the light. When you learn to rest in his promises, peace replaces anxiety. You stop asking, when will it happen? And start saying, I know it will happen in God's perfect time. Sometimes God delays the blessing to protect your destiny. What you think you're ready for might actually destroy you if you got it too soon. There are prayers God doesn't answer immediately because He loves you too much to let you settle for less than His best. So when He says, not yet, it's not a rejection, it's redirection. He's leading you to something that will fit your life perfectly, something that will make you look back and thank Him for not giving you what you once begged for. Even when life feels uncertain, remind yourself God is never uncertain. He already knows how your story ends. Every disappointment, every closed door, every detour, it's all part of His master plan. And when He delivers, it will make sense why it took so long. What you thought was wasted time will turn out to be the foundation for your next blessing. The Bible reminds us in Romans 8:10-28 that all things work together for good to those who love God. Not some things, all things. Even the pain, even the waiting, even the confusion. God is not just watching your story, He's writing it with purpose. He doesn't need your panic, He needs your patience. So today, breathe. Let go of the fear, the doubt, and the pressure to figure everything out. Your job is not to understand the plan. Your job is to trust the planner. He has seen your tears, He's heard your prayers, and He will not fail you. The same God who brought you this far will not leave you now. You are not forgotten. You are favored. Life is a journey full of unknowns. We pray, we plan, we hope, and yet sometimes nothing goes according to our expectations. There are days when your heart is heavy, your faith feels weak, and your dreams seem out of reach. You might find yourself asking, where is God? Does He really hear me? But I want to remind you today, God knows what you want, and He will deliver in His perfect time. His silence is not abandonment. It's often preparation for something greater than you can imagine. When God is quiet, He's not ignoring you. He's working in ways you cannot see. He's arranging the right people, preparing the right opportunities, and aligning every circumstance to fulfill His promise for your life. The delay is not a denial, it's a sign that He's doing something deeper, something that requires patience and trust. Often, the waiting period is the most powerful part of your story. That's where your faith is tested and your character is shaped. God doesn't just want to bless you. He wants to build you so that when the blessing comes, you'll be strong enough to carry it. We live in a world that glorifies instant results. Quick success, fast answers, overnight breakthroughs. But God's kingdom doesn't operate on earthly time. He works through seasons. There's a season to plant, a season to grow, and a season to harvest. The problem is, many of us want the harvest without going through the planting or growing process. But without those stages, the roots of your faith can't grow deep. God sometimes delays your visible blessing because He's growing invisible strength inside you. Think about Hannah in the Bible. She prayed for years for a child, and it seemed like God had forgotten her. But He hadn't. God was preparing her to become the mother of Samuel, one of the greatest prophets in Israel's history. When God finally answered her prayer, it wasn't just about fulfilling her desire, it was about fulfilling His divine purpose. The same is true for you. What feels like an unanswered prayer is often God aligning your desire with His destiny for your life. Sometimes you might feel like you're walking in darkness. You don't know what's next. You don't understand why things are happening the way they are. That's where faith steps in. Faith doesn't need all the details. It simply trusts that God is good and that He's in control. Faith says, even when I can't see the path, I'll trust the one who leads. God's plan is rarely revealed all at once. It unfolds one step at a time. And every step you take in trust draws you closer to the breakthrough He has already prepared for you. We often pray for doors to open, but sometimes God closes them for our protection. What you think you lost may actually be God's mercy in disguise. The opportunity that didn't work out, the person who walked away, the plan that failed, these are not signs that God has abandoned you. They're signs that He's redirecting you. Because He sees the things you can't. He knows what lies ahead, and He's making sure you end up in the right place at the right time. The truth is, God never forgets what He promised. He doesn't overlook your prayers. Every tear you've cried, every time you've chosen to keep believing when it would have been easier to quit, all of it matters to Him. He's seen your faithfulness, and in due time, He will reward it. You don't have to force things to happen. You just have to stay faithful where you are. Keep doing what's right. Keep showing up. Keep believing. When the time is right, your breakthrough will come rushing into your life in a way that only God can orchestrate. Isaiah 6:22 says, when the time is right, the Lord, will make it happen. That means you don't have to struggle, stress, or strive to make things work. All you have to do is trust, because God is not limited by your circumstances. He's greater than them. What you see as impossible is simple for Him. He can open a door in a day that others couldn't open in a lifetime. He can turn a closed chapter into a new beginning with one word. Now, there are moments in life when everything seems uncertain. You've prayed, you've waited, and you've done everything right. Yet the answers haven't come. The doors you expected to open remain closed. And the path you thought was clear suddenly disappears before your eyes. It's in those moments that fear tries to whisper, maybe God has forgotten you. But the truth is, God never forgets. He knows exactly what you want. He understands every desire of your heart. And He's already working to deliver what's best for you in His perfect timing. Sometimes God's work is invisible. You can't see it, you can't feel it, but it's happening all around you. Behind every disappointment, every delay, and every detour, there is a divine reason. God's hand is not idle. It's purposeful. He's aligning opportunities, moving obstacles, and preparing your heart for the blessings that are on their way. What may feel like a pause in your life is actually God's preparation season. And preparation is never wasted when the Creator of time is the one arranging it. It's easy to trust God when things are going well, when prayers are being answered and blessings are visible. But real faith is tested in the silence. When nothing seems to be happening, when you're tempted to give up, when your prayers feel unanswered, that's where true trust is born. Trust is not just believing that God can do it. It's believing that He will, even when you don't know how or when. Trust means resting in His promise, even when your heart doesn't see progress. Because faith is not about evidence. It's about endurance. It's about saying, God, I don't understand, but I still believe you're working for my good. When you choose to trust God in your waiting, you give Him room to work miracles. Many people lose their blessings because they give up too soon. They walk away from faith moments before the breakthrough arrives. But God's timing is not our timing. What you call a delay, God calls development. Every waiting season is a growing season. It strengthens your patience, deepens your faith, and prepares your heart for the weight of the blessing to come. God never rushes because He's not trying to deliver something temporary. He's building something eternal. Remember the story of the Israelites leaving Egypt. God promised them the land of milk and honey, yet the journey took 40 years. Why? Because they weren't ready. God had to work on their hearts before He could deliver them to the promise. In the same way, you might be in your wilderness season right now, a time that feels dry, confusing, and endless. But that doesn't mean God has abandoned you. It means He's refining you. He's removing fear, doubt, pride, and everything that doesn't belong in your next chapter. When you finally step into your promised season, you'll be ready, not just to receive the blessing, but to sustain it. Sometimes we think we know exactly what we want, but God sees the bigger picture. He knows what's ahead. The things you can't see, the people who aren't meant to stay, the opportunities that look good but would pull you off course. So when God closes a door, don't fight it. Thank Him for the protection, because every no from God is actually making space for a better yes. The rejection you're crying over today might be the redirection that saves your destiny tomorrow. God's plan is not to harm you, it's to bless you beyond what you could ever plan for yourself. When God delivers, it won't just meet your needs, it will exceed your expectations. He will bless you in ways that will leave you in awe, ways that will make you say, only God could have done this. You'll see that every tear, every prayer, every lonely night, and every waiting season was worth it. You'll understand that God wasn't ignoring you. He was perfecting you. So don't let frustration steal your faith. Don't let impatience cloud your vision. God's promises are still alive, and His word never fails. Keep walking, keep believing, and keep trusting. Your time is coming, and when it does, it will happen suddenly. So suddenly that the pain of waiting will vanish in the joy of fulfillment. Conclusion, God knows exactly what you want, but more than that, He knows what's best for you. He hears your prayers, He sees your heart, and He's preparing something greater than what you've asked for. The waiting is not a sign that He's forgotten, it's a sign that He's working. Every delay, every detour, and every disappointment is leading you closer to destiny. So hold on, stay faithful, and trust Him completely. Because when God delivers, it won't just be what you wanted. It will be what you needed all along.